I lost $3,000 buying this fake Pokemon card. And before I tell you the story, check out this clip.
Oh,
that's a Chinese card, right?
Yeah.
What was your ask on that Mew? Actually, I might be interested in it. I'll take a look at it. I might get it for Fran. Can I see that Mew, that Chinese Mew, when you get a chance?
Somebody gave it to me at my birthday. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an exclusive artwork for Chinese and.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Sorry if I just start pulling stuff out.
Oh yeah, no, that's weird. They have the little thing over here. Like you have to
open it like that. Okay.
I hate those things. I don't think I'll take it out.
On the back. Okay, so we liked.
What are you interested from us, my friend? A trade or?
I want Rayquaza.
The Rayquaza, okay.
Do you have the Master Battle Pikachu PSA 10?
No.
No. Okay. And also have free sealed boxes of ponchos.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, you want to take everything, basically.
Well, are you trying to do a straight trade or are you trying to get some cash out? I guess that's the better question.
Minus this, I would take cash after that.
Okay.
Yeah. I have almost everything, so I don't see anything.
You got a lot of great cards, man.
Oh, it's like all my extras.
Extras? You said somebody gifted you this?
Yeah, on my birthday.
I'm having a hard time figuring out how much it's worth.
He owns a shop here.
Well,
I sold them the poncho boxes. And they gave me this.
And he gifted you that. What kind of poncho box did you sell him?
Rayquaza, Mega Charizard X and Y, the original breed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought from Japan like $28 back then.
Back in the day.
Yeah, per box. I sold for $7,000 back in January per box. Now I'm mostly for maybe $9,000 per box.
Well, I would plan on gifting this to her. She's a Mew collector, but what would you want for it?
What is the price? I don't even know.
Since it's exclusive, like it's hard to say. Like I'm seeing like some sales, but I don't know if there's different versions of it. So I'm not extremely familiar with it.
That can't be right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that makes any sense.
Unless he's really
likes you.
Yeah. Holy moly. You know, I'm gonna hold up to that.
Yeah.
I don't know the price on this one, actually.
Okay.
I did not know it's worth that much. Wow. I'm gonna talk to him about it.
Yeah, give him a call. See what's going on.
Wow. Shit. I thought it was just like a, you know.
I was seeing some of those like what in the world?
Yeah. What would you take for it? Like, if you want to buy it?
I do want it, but I don't know if that's like a real price or if that's like some sort of like
inflation price.
Yeah, some sort of like.
Yeah. Oh damn. Yeah. That's the exclusive Chinese.
Some sort of different version or something.
It's the first person I see here with it. My gave it to me on my birthday, so yeah, a store owner actually. Yeah.
What's up, baby? How you doing?
Checking on you.
Do you mind if I show her that Mew really quick? Check out this Mew he has. It's a Chinese exclusive.
I love it.
Isn't it so cool?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Apparently it's worth a lot of money. I don't even know.
Well, apparently it's really expensive.
Is it?
I don't know if it's that one or some version of it, but it's like selling on eBay for like $5,000.
Yeah. I didn't know. Somebody gave it to me. Maybe you worked like nothing before. Maybe all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
He showed it to me, and I'm like, this can't be real, you know?
Yeah, I never looked it up. I didn't even know I bought it with me, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Want to do that?
Yeah.
Let's do it, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, have somebody take a look at that Mew, too.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy. Let's set the stage here and provide you with some context that will kind of tell you about the situation that we were in that led to me making the decision to end up buying this card in the first place. So in that clip that you saw, the man that brought up the card also brought up an entire binder of other cards that he was wanting to have us look through to see if we found any cards that we would want to take in trade towards some cards of ours that he had that he wanted to buy. As I was looking through that binder, I took a bunch of cards from that binder in that first deal that we did with him that were and are authentic, and I didn't have any questions about him being an honest collector, or I guess in general, there just wasn't any other fishiness that would have pointed me in the direction of the Mew that we ended up seeing being a fake. Now, this show that we took the clip from was the Front Row Las Vegas show that happened back in May, which is just a few months after this Chinese Mew EX exclusive card was starting to kind of hit the market. At least according to my sources, it looks like it hit the market starting in March of this year, 2025, with a limited release of about 151 cards per month, every month between March and December. So the fact that the show happened in May meant that, yes, the card would have just very recently hit the market, but there could have realistically been some available copies for people that maybe had direct access to Chinese stores or Chinese suppliers to own the card. Again, as you see in the clip, I'm looking at the card, looking at the front, looking at the back, and I really don't know exactly what I'm looking for a Chinese card specifically. I'd never bought a Chinese card before, but they have the same back design as an English card, and the front, as we'll show you in some B-roll here, has a beautiful texture. It reflects light in different directions, just like the regular texture of a Pokemon card does. And the other thing that we looked for later on after the fact, which I'll talk about, is in a Chinese Pokemon card of this rarity, there's a small Pokemon symbol watermark in the bottom left border of the card. And that was and is present on the card. As I'm looking at it, I'm also looking on eBay to see if there's any sold listings for this specific card. And once again, back in May, there just wasn't that much news about the card in general. I was looking at sales listings from people in China, from people that were already in the US, and the card seemed to be selling for $5,000 to $6,000. And I didn't know if that was for this version of the card or a separate version of the card. I really didn't know if there were maybe different characteristics of a certain card that would make it more expensive, because as you saw in the clip, the man told me that he got the card for free from a friend while he was overseas in Hong Kong. After looking at some of those sales listings and then him looking up and seeing those same sales listings on eBay for $5,000 or $6,000, he very rightly decided to not sell the card to me at that time and to do a little bit more research, which was another sign to me that showed that he wasn't someone who was a bad actor who was just trying to sell a fake card. It was more like he had gotten a card for cheap or free, and he's now discovering that it had some significant value and wants to do a bit more research on his own to figure out if his card is the same one as the ones that are selling for such a high price on the internet, which is actually a very commonplace thing to happen. People go to card shows all the time and show old collections or unique items to vendors who either know what they're looking at or maybe don't, and as they look at it together, they discover that's worth a lot more than anyone originally thought. This kind of theme plays out in really popular TV shows like Pawn Stars, and is kind of the source of a lot of interesting deals happen, where someone is owning something that ends up carrying a lot more value than they would have ever guessed. And so the fact that he was so forthcoming with his lack of knowledge about the card and his lack of willingness to sell it before he learned some more information on it made me feel even more confident that he wasn't someone who was trying to pull the wool over my eyes. As I said, he decided not to sell the card to me at that moment. He wanted to do a bit more research on his end and then maybe see me the next day. And as a card vendor, and anyone who else is a vendor knows that when someone says, "Oh, I might come back later," that usually means they're basically gone forever and you're never going to see them again. And even if you do, you're probably never going to see that card again, because they'll probably talk to another person or another vendor and they'll end up doing the deal at that point, now that they kind of have discovered that there's an interest and demand for that card. Well, it turns out that he actually did come back the next day. And unfortunately, that was the day 2 of the show and we weren't filming that day, so we don't have a recording of that interaction. But basically what happened was he came back to me and I asked him to basically tell me the story again of how he came across the card. And the story kind of summed up to, he was in Hong Kong, he has a friend there, a close friend, who owns a game store or a card store there. He had done many deals with that friend, and basically as a sign of friendship, that friend had gifted him this Mew card on his birthday. And then knowing that he's a big collector of cards, you know, that man came back to the US and was just kind of happened to be at the Front Row Card Show and had a bunch of different cards that he was hoping to do deals with, and that Mew was in the stack of things that he was open to showing vendors as far as things that they could maybe give him trade credit for. As I mentioned before, there just really wasn't enough information online to show that this card was going to be as valuable as it has turned out to be today. Now, PSA 10 copies of this card, I believe, are selling upwards of $10,000 right now, with ungraded copies going for between $5,000 and $8,000, depending on condition and depending on where they're coming from. At that time, although we did see 1 or 2 sales listings in that 5 or 6K range, neither of us were really confident that this card on the long term was going to be worth that kind of money. There was a lot of risk in either of us owning that card. Now, obviously, he got the card for free, but he didn't have any specific intrinsic connection to it. It was just a gift that he received, and he was open to getting some offers on it. So with that kind of risk in mind, and without me really knowing what the market was going to do on that card, and the fact that I was really just buying it as a gift for Fran, I made him an offer. And we agreed on a cash offer for the card for $2,400. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, anyone who's willing to sell that Mew card for $2,400 is obviously selling a fake. But that's maybe looking in retrospect with today's knowledge. At that point in May, no one really in the States had this card, and if they did, maybe a handful of people, and there wasn't any public information about it, about how it was selling or how it was going to trend as far as the long-term value of the card. And so with that risk in mind, and me explaining all of that risk to the man, I told him that I could make him an offer of that amount because that was the amount that I was willing to risk, not knowing what was going to happen with the card, but feeling fairly confident that it was an authentic copy of the Mew. Hey friends, do you want to buy real cards and not fake ones like the ones I'm telling you about in this video? Then you should stop by our drip stream Tuesday. It's going to be great. We're going to be bringing lots of sealed stuff again, but also, as you'll see, we're bringing a whole bunch of slabs, hundreds more than what we're showing right here, and we're bringing a whole bunch of really cool singles, lots of vintage, modern, mid-era. So we're going to be bringing lots of stuff. Try to bring, you know, a lot of the inventory that you'll see at our upcoming shows to some of the streams like this. We'll be doing auctions. We'll be doing buy it now for live openings on the stream. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come check it out. And if you can't make it for the stream, that's okay. We're still gonna have, as always, our Chomp Pack product available. What is it? It's an instant pack product that you can open online and win things in real life to be shipped to your door. So far, we've had people win booster boxes, ETBs, bundles, packs from their favorite set, but the main chases are still available, PSA 10 Jarchomp cards. So check it out in the description of the video below. And now let's get back to my fake Mew card story. Why are we making this video? Well, so much of the vendor content out there is purposefully designed to be very positive. You've got people coming to your table doing very positive deals, but the reality is that most of these videos, including ours, are curated to be very positive. There are things that happen at the table that are simply not as positive. And we wanted to highlight some of the things that can happen at the vendor table, and so that's why this is an important video for us to make. We had someone walk up to the table and make a deal with us that ended up being really costly for us. We don't want to hide anything, so we're going to put it out here on our YouTube channel. Now, the point of the video is not to put the person, the patron who sold us the card on blast or to, you know, let everyone know to avoid them, but really just to help those of you maybe not make the same mistake that we have. The reality is that the collectibles industry, Pokemon cards, for example, is not a regulated industry, and real people lose real money all the time, unfortunately. Now, what's the thought process that I was going through both before, during, and after that entire situation? As a card vendor, I have a strong belief that every single time you buy a card, it's a risk. It's a gamble. You don't know certainly if that card is going to go up in value, go down in value. You take a good look at the card, but maybe you don't always check it for condition. Maybe you don't know what the market's going to do long term. Maybe you don't know if it's going to sell at your table that day or not for many months. There's risks in liquidity, there are risks in authenticity, and then there's risks in condition every time you buy a single card. And so every single time, whether you've bought a card 1,000 times or never before, it's always a risk. There's always some measure of experience that you're going to gain. It's always an experiment, is what I like to say. Even if you look up sales comps on eBay or on other auction houses for a similar item in similar condition, there's just also no guarantee that you as a seller are going to be able to sell the item that you have for the same amount as what you're seeing on the internet. Even if something looks incredibly similar, there's just so many variables. Are you in the same market? Are the people that are collecting that card still willing to pay that same amount? Is it in the same condition? And obviously, is it authentic? As I've talked about in past videos, I am personally not a very speculative person. I like to stick to the business that I understand, and I like to make maybe small experiments from time to time that give me information about card deals that I might make in the future. But I'm not the kind of person who is making big bets on the unknowns of the card market and being a bit more, like I said, speculative or maybe gambling on a certain decision in my business. I take it very seriously to make smart decisions that I have a track record of proving to be beneficial for the business. And so based on all the context that we had and the amount of money that we were potentially putting on the line for this card, I decided to make this bet and to take that risk. So what happens next? Well, we bought that card in May. Over the course of the next month and into June and even early July, a lot more information came from real sales of this card on the marketplace. More copies flooded the US market. More copies were being graded and being sold on places like eBay or being sold in shows that I was personally attending. And other vendors that I know were getting their hands on copies of this card. And so more and more was coming out about the relative value of the card, how rare it was, how desirable it was, and which ones were authentic and which ones were not. And it just so happens that this specific card, because of its rarity, ended up being the type of card that had some really high quality counterfeit copies created. With that in mind, I was really frequently comparing and contrasting pictures of graded copies and authentic copies that I was seeing on the internet and other places with the copy that we had back at home. And ultimately, I thought that there were just too many similarities for it to be a fake, but at the end of the day, I had never owned a Chinese card before. And so I decided to, even though we didn't have any intentions of grading it or authenticating it with an authentication service, just for our own security and my peace of mind, we sent it into PSA to get authenticated. I sent in the card to PSA. I spent a few $100s to get it graded, and unfortunately, this is what I got back in the mail from PSA. A notice and basically a refusal from them to put the card in a slab and to certify its authenticity. So what's the result? Well, all in all, we have a really nice looking fake Mew card that between buying the card and hoping to get it authenticated at PSA, we've spent just shy of $3,000 to basically come to a place where we just have a fake card. And that stings. It's never fun to discover that you have made what is a significant error for your business and therefore for your family. But what did I learn from this entire situation? Because if you didn't make any money, then hopefully you can at least take away some lessons. Well, it reinforced my belief, like I said earlier, that every decision you make in this business has inherent risk. Sometimes you're gonna win and sometimes you're gonna lose. And that is just part of the game that we're all playing. Here's some advice, another thing that I learned, and that is to do everything you can to reduce that risk of losing when you're making an important decision for your business, specifically in the collectibles market. Do your homework. Learn all you can about the card. Ask the owner of the card to tell you the story in multiple different ways, in a friendly way, how they came about the card, what their intentions are. Are they selling it? Why are they selling it? What are they hoping to get out of it? How did they get it? All of those kinds of things are part of the story of that card. Do some research online where you can. Use the tools at your disposal, whether it's eBay or other selling sites that might have some details and some verified sellers who are selling similar things. And of course, if you can and have time, ask someone you know that might have experience in buying or selling something similar to see if what you have is the real deal. Another important lesson here is to not risk more than you are willing to lose. At the end of the day, Losing $3,000 for our business, it stings. It hurts in a lot of different ways, but it's not an irreversible amount of damage. We're going to be able to get through this and continue on with our business and get up off the floor and, again, continue to make good decisions that are beneficial for us to kind of overcome this loss. So if you're someone who is making business decisions on a regular basis that carry inherent risk, just remember that you don't need to take on more risk than you're capable of losing, and just basically plan for the worst case scenario before making that decision. However, it's not all doom and gloom. You can't let decisions like this and mistakes that you have made disenchant you from taking risks in the future. At the end of the day, business is all about taking calculated risks and kind of marching into the unknown one step at a time. And if you let failures and knockdowns steer you away from ever trying to do those things again in the future, then you're really never going to make the progress that you deserve to make based on where you are and the skills that you have. So be willing to take risks, and when you make a mistake or when things just go wrong, be willing to stand up and move forward again. So my question for you is, after hearing this entire story and knowing kind of how it resolved for us, would you have made the same choice and taken on that risk if you were at my vendor table that day? And as you think about your answer to that question, let's say we had gone through this same scenario and then I send the card to PSA and it is authentic, and we do get it authenticated, and all of a sudden we've discovered that we've paid $2,400 for a card that's worth, you know, maybe $8,000 or $9,000. If that had been the result, would you answer the last question that I asked you the same way, or would you maybe be more willing to take that risk knowing that we had won on the scenario? Just food for thought, guys. Now, let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for being here, and good luck going forward.